Hey gang, Roten here. Welcome on back to the Cade and Week 16 here in Season 2 of Sega Sports NFL 2K2 for the Sega Dreamcast, as we are trying to wrap up yet another season of inching closer to creating the New England Patriots Dynasty without the existence of Tom Brady in the early 2000s. We managed to have a victory last week over the seemingly hapless Arizona Cardinals, although they put up a bigger fight than I anticipated. And now with just 2 weeks to go in the regular season, we get the Sunday night game against our division rival, New York Football Jets. Let's get cracking. Your 2002 New York Jets, for the record, finished 9-7 that year. They won the AFC East. I think it was the only time in the Tom Brady era that the Jets actually won the AFC East, to my recollection. They were head coached by Herm Edwards, and this was the year, 2002, that one of the great sound bites ever laid on tape was recorded. After a Week 8 loss to the Cleveland Browns 24-21 at the Meadowlands, Herm Edwards stood at the podium and answered a reporter's question by saying, "Hello, you play to win the game." If you look it up on YouTube, it's usually on the short list of the great coaching press conference quotes of all time. During the season, the Jets were actually really busy adding quite a few pieces to their squad on both sides of the ball. They brought in cornerback Donnie Abraham from the Buccaneers, Sam Cowart, linebacker from the Bills, defensive tackle Larry Webster from the Ravens, Steve White from the Buccaneers, as we have won the toss.
The Patriots decide to defend instead of receive. Let's get started.
And really just lost a bunch of role players on both sides of the ball as well. The draft didn't necessarily go their way either. They picked up defensive end Brian Thomas in the first round. They picked up safety John McGraw in the second round. And out of all the picks they got that year, only Jonathan Goodwin, a guard selected from Michigan in the 5th round with the 154th pick, made at least one Pro Bowl during their career. So a short kick will be taken at the 15-yard line by the Jets. Here they come. And that's Lavernius Coles. And the question is, who will be the quarterback for the Jets today? We have at least on the roster in 02, it was still Vinny Testaverde, the ancient mariner of the NFL. At that stage, I think he was only 112 years old. Todd Husak and Chad Pennington. Looks like Pennington is, number 10. He's the starting quarterback today. And Pennington, during his time with the Jets, was actually good, but he gets a fumble in the strip sack. Willie McGinnis will take it in, and we get the touchdown in the first play of the game. Well, that couldn't have gone much better if I drew it up, and I'd love to say I did, but I didn't. It was simply that Martin could not keep Richard Seymour from getting to Pennington. Pennington lost the ball. McGinnis scooped it up, and we're on the board 6-0 just like that. I'll take it.
Lines up for the point after.
And that the Jets still have Curtis Martin on this team in 02 was a big part of their success. The point after is good, so we burned barely 10 seconds off the clock. And we're up 7-0. So we'll kick this one away. This will be a much better kick. This will go all the way to the end zone. Will they bring it out? Yep. Coles is going to try and give it a run back. Here he comes. And he only gets up to about the 20.
Patriots will want to show off their defense early. Get a big stop that'll pump up this crowd.
It's crazy to think that Chad Pennington was actually about a year older than I am. He's born in 76, so he's 48 now. When you start getting to that age, you realize that everybody who was an athlete in your prime is now as old as you. It can be a little bit sobering. Let's see what we can do on this drive. They hand it off to Martin, and he lost the ball again! But this time, the Jets recovered it. So playing in the snow, the Jets are having a serious case of fumbleitis. But at the time of his retirement, Chad Pennington held the NFL record for completion percentage, which may not seem like much, but if that's your primary job as a quarterback, is to find receivers and get them the ball, it's like having a really solid ERA as a pitcher. Try the pump fake. That is caught, and that'll be a first down. But Pennington spent his first 8 seasons in New York with the Jets, and then he spent his final 3 years in the league with the Miami Dolphins because, unfortunately, what befell him was injuries. Primarily to his throwing shoulder. As Martin goes nowhere. So for his career, Pennington was 1,632 completions on 2,471 attempts for 17,823 yards. 102 touchdowns up against 64 picks. Which is not a bad ratio to have, really, when you consider how many picks a quarterback on average throws in a year relative to the amount of touchdowns they throw. And he's just going to throw this one away as the pressure was coming. All right, so it'll be 3rd and 13. And Pennington was taken 18th in overall by the Jets in the first round of the 2002 draft. And he's going to jump ball this one out of bounds again.
That'll take it to 4th down, probably force them to punt for the first time.
This will get the defense fired up, Peter. I can tell you that. They're starting to become a factor in this game.
All right, so they will punt it away. But the Jets in 2002, they won the wild card, beating the Colts 41-0. And then lost to the Raiders 30-10. Now, the one trade-off is that the Raiders did go to the Super Bowl that year. That was the year they lost to John Gruden and the Buccaneers. So if you're going to lose to a team, at least lose to a team that goes to the Super Bowl. Obviously, it's not what you want per se, but I've always heard that it's easier. If you lose to the team that either goes to the title game or, more importantly, wins the title game, it's like, hey, we got beat by the best team. As J.R. Redmond rumbles in and picks up 3.
A gain of 3.
Second down, 7 yards to go.
It's second and about 7 yards.
All right, let's see what Drew can do through the air here on 2nd and 7 with about 2.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. Get it away, get it to Charles Johnson. He's got a first down near midfield. The blitz was coming. We got away just in the nick of time.
You got that right, Peter. They were more than ready for it, and they were able to buy time for their general behind the lines. 1st and 10.
All right, send the receiver in motion. And Redmond still muscling ahead, cross midfield, and picks up an honest 6. So when these two teams met in the 2002 season, New England stomped them in the Meadowlands 44-7 in week 2. And then in the rematch in week 16, of the 02 season, the Jets beat the Patriots 30-17. And that was back at Gillette. We get a big gain there for a first down, moving the sticks.
J.R. Redmond didn't have to fight very hard to get the first down there.
It was a good, clean run. Ball at the 39-yard line.
All right, see what we can do through the air here on 1st and 10 with about a minute to go in the quarter.
One shotgun. Nearly gets it off.
And swatted down. I was a little late on the trigger as Coleman was there on the coverage.
Charles Johnson is having trouble out there today with that snow, Dan.
Yeah, the snow is making the football slippery, and the cold is making the receiver's hands,
Well, I suppose wool mittens are out of the question.
I think so.
But we pick up 5 on that one.
It will be third down.
5 yards to go.
It's 3rd and 5.
All right, instead of trying the corner route this time, I'm going to try and do a simple up and out route.
Close right.
As we find Troy Brown, that's exactly what I wanted. Just enough to move the chains.
They brought on the blitz, Dan.
Drew 2 for 3 for 20 yards. That's not bad. I will take that.
Yeah, shutting down the blitz can be murder, but if you're successful, you're just about guaranteed an open man downfield. All of the 25.
All right, we got about 30 seconds to go in the quarter. We're still up 7-0.
Throws left.
We got Brown wide open. Still on his feet as he's down near the 5.
Saw the hand thrown after the catch. Slick move for the first down.
They saw the blitz coming.
And we may have enough time to get this play off here.
Crucial that they can pick up the rush like that. Once he has enough time, the quarterback can see all kinds of possibilities.
And he's close, but he's down at the 1 as J.R. Redmond, and that will be the end of the first quarter. No, they're going to say he got in. I didn't see the touchdown sign go up,
I like that, the joy of 6.
but he fell across the plane of the goal line, so it is touchdown J.R. Redmond. So that gives us a 13-0 lead as soon as I check the scoreboard and see that it went on. And that run counted.
Line up for the point after.
So Vinatieri will put in the extra point, and we'll go to the first quarter break. Up 14-0.
End of the first quarter. The Patriots have a bit of leading. 14-0.
So 9 plays, 68 yards in 3 minutes and 3 seconds. Capped by the J.R. Redmond run.
Vinatieri sets up and
We'll kick this one away.
This is a nice kick.
Be taken inside the 5.
Kicks it deep.
And Andy Katzenmoyer with the stick.
On the return.
First down, Jet.
So it'll be 1st and 10 at the Jet 25s. They start the second quarter.
The Jets will start at the 26-yard line.
See if they use Curtis Martin a little bit more in this one. Not in this play, they got an empty backfield. And that is swatted down by my secondary.
Chad Pennington really blew it with that throw. I mean, there were 3 sharks in the water out there.
Yeah, I thought it was a mistake to bunch up the coverage in one zone like that, but apparently they knew.
So they're going to go with the I formation. So now they got Martin back on the field. And if you've never seen Curtis Martin play, he was one of those guys who was just a really solid running back. And for his career, he finished with 14,101 yards on his way to the Hall of Fame and 90 touchdowns. Also had 484 receptions for 3,300 yards.
Ball at the 26-yard line.
Never missed a whole lot of time that I can remember with a significant injury. Oh, and he threw it right to us. That should have been a pick. Brewski was right there.
Yeah, they're probably gonna
And in the
punt away,
2002
and that is
season,
gonna hurt.
Martin played all 16 games, ran for 1,094 yards,
Away after a 3 and out.
and 7 touchdowns. It was actually his least productive year yardage-wise. I'll get to that in a second as we return the punt. It was his least productive season in terms of yardage in his career to that point. The previous year, in 2001, he ran for 1,513 yards, and then the following year, he ran for 1,308 yards.
The Patriots are on the field after the punt. They're up 14-0.
All right, so 1st and 10 near midfield. And we only pick up 2 on that run, so I tried to wedge myself in between 2 defensive backs. And we pick up 3 more. So Redmond already got 7 carries for 34 yards.
Third down coming up.
5 yards to go.
It's 3rd and 5.
All right, we'll see if we can pull the in route again. Oh, and I couldn't get away as the pressure was coming and Bledsoe got sacked.
Of the game.
That right there is the first stop of the game, Dan. They started off looking a bit
Sean
shaky,
Ellis
but they
with
seem
the
well
sack.
awake right now.
That forces 4th down, and we're going to have to punt this one away. So the drive stalls after a 3 and out,
Comes in and will
even though we had good field position near the 50. Low snap, but it's a good high-hanging punt, taking it to 5.
Martin fields it deep.
And Curtis Martin's going to bring this one back, breaks 1 tackle, but not 2.
On the return.
So it'll be 1st and 10 at the 22-yard line for the Jets with 3:12 to go in the half. We still lead 14-0.
The Jets had their defense force the punt. Now let's see if their offense can score. Currently they trail 14.
See what Pennington can do here. I formation 1st and 10. And almost covered. We got a penalty on the field. We'll see who it's on. The question is, do I want to go for 1st and 20 or do I want to take 2nd and 10? I'm going to back him up. It's a calculated gamble.
Cross the line from clean blocking into holding, and he got called on the carpet for it.
It's 1st and 20.
But now they got 20 yards to cover instead of the usual 10. Change up the defense here.
Pass is no good. Incomplete.
And Pennington really
So I'll make it
should have
2nd and
looked before he
20.
threw there. It's all about reading the field, no matter how little time you have.
Peter, there were 3 guys playing that zone. I
Yeah.
can't believe that was the best choice he had. 2nd and 20.
All right, so 2nd and 20 at the 12. And Martin only picks up 3 on that run.
Makes a nice tackle. 3rd and what looks like forever coming up.
17 yards to go.
Ball at the 16-yard line.
All right, I'm going to play the odds into a safe cover just to make sure we don't leave anybody too wide open. And knocked down by Loya Malloy. So Pennington 1 of 8 for 11 yards so far in this game. And with the penalty, they end up going 3 and out, and they're going to have to punt it away again.
Tupa lines up, and this will be his 3rd punt of the game.
And it wasn't that Pennington didn't have weapons on this offense. Along with Curtis Martin, he had Lavernius Coles, who was a serviceable receiver. And then they had Wayne Krebet still, who was one of the best undrafted free agents in NFL history.
Have a nice starting
And
point
I'm
for
not
this
saying
drive.
that that's on many lists of top 10 lists for NFL players. They also had Santana Moss, who at that time was considered to be a potential #1 receiver. So they had guys who could get the ball if Pennington could get it there.
Great tackle. A gain of 2.
Second down, 8 yards to go.
All right, so we're going to have to convert something here.
Ball at the
So
47.
second and 8. We're just on the Jets side of the 50 as we're near the 2-minute warning.
Barely gets it off.
And we get it to Lucas, first down. And that's the 2-minute warning as we're at the 32-yard line of the Jets.
We've reached the 2-minute
And we
warning.
still have all 3 timeouts.
Currently in control and up
So if anything, we can use the clock, run it down. If we can keep moving the chains, at the least we can get into field goal range. Well, that's not going to help if we're only picking up 2 yards at a time.
right past the line of scrimmage. A gain of 2.
8 yards to go.
Ball on the 31.
All right, second and 8. Right outside the 30.
Throws middle.
We go to Johnson, first down. And we're near the 20.
All that and picks up some extra yards.
Actually, we're inside the red zone. We're at the 16-yard line.
Clock shows a minute.
Minute 20 to go in the half. Clock running. We get the ball to start the third quarter.
Flag down on the play.
And Damian Woody most likely jumped the line again. Nope, there's going to be encroachment on the defense. So the Jets jump the line. I will gladly take that.
Sean Ellis gets the call for
So
encroachment.
Sean Ellis
Snuck up a little too much on the ball.
got a little bit twitchy at the line.
First and 5.
And Redmond only gets back to the line of scrimmage.
No gain on the play.
So the Jets are clamping down
1 minute on the game clock.
on our ability to run the ball. So we're going to see if we can hit it through the air with under a minute to go. We still have all 3 timeouts. It's second and 5. There we go. Lucas. Oh, but it's going to be a penalty. This ain't going to stick. Holding on the Patriots. Otherwise, that would have been a touchdown for sure. So make it second and 15, and that stops the clock. Damn it, damn it, damn it.
Ball at the 21-yard line.
All right, so it stops the clock with 50 seconds to go, but it's second and 15. If we get a decent pickup here, we'll be right back where we started. That's knocked down and complete as Brown got forced off of his route.
And falls incomplete.
I was expecting him to cut inside. Instead, the defensive back did that.
Clock reads 46.
So we have 46 seconds to go now in the half. Third and 15. Oh, we just got it away before we got sacked.
The smart play here on 4th is the field goal. Walk away with something, I say.
So if we go for the field goal, it's a 37-yarder, which is right in Vinatieri's wheelhouse. This should not be a difficult kick for him, provided I can line it up right. Kick is on its way, and it is good. Just got it inside of the right upright. But be that as it may, it's 17-0 as we extend the lead. 8 plays, 28 yards in a minute 50. Capped by the 38-yard field goal by Adam Vinatieri. And he'll kick this one away.
Perfect kickoff.
And this is going to go way to the back of the end zone. There's no way they're bringing this one out.
Coleman fields it in the end zone. Coleman.
As Coleman will take the knee, and they'll bring it out to the 20. Well, I got a second. Just a quick programming note. We are going to be off next weekend for Sports Saturday, as well as Sucker Punch Sunday, only because I have to go out of town. And I found this out as kind of a last-minute thing for my day job. The cool thing is that I get to go to Las Vegas for the first time. The downside is I only get to be there for 3 days, and I'm not much of a drinker, a party guy, or a gambler. So, I mean, Vegas is always one of those cities that I wanted to go to once in my life, just to say I've been there, and now I can say I've done that. I've been there before. It's for like layovers connecting to flights, but ask anybody who travels at any point in their life, and they will tell you that a layover in a city does not count as an official visit. You gotta be there for at least a full day for it to officially count.
Pennington was really feeling the heat on that one, Dan.
So it's already 3rd and 10.
Oh, without a doubt, Peter. They were gunning for it.
You know, he must have felt
And
like
Pennington still can't find anybody to catch his passes so far.
Ooh, boy, that's certain doom.
And that was almost picked off but knocked away. So it's 3 and out again. And Pennington 1 for 11. So we're going to get the ball back with 27 seconds to go. So actually we'll have about 20 depending on how long this punt return takes. And if we put a couple of plays together, we might be in with a shot of getting a few more points on the board. We got 16 seconds. We got 56 yards to cover. See if we can test the arm on Drew Bledsoe a bit. We got it away and knocked down incomplete with 12 seconds to go in the half.
Not to be saddled with an interception there, Dan. There were guys all over the place out there.
That was not a smart throw, Peter. 12 seconds on the game clock.
All right, let's see if we can get a completion here. We got it. And Brown steps out with 7 seconds to go. So now we're at the 43, so if we tried it would be a 60-yard field goal attempt. That ain't going to work. Let's see. Yeah, we'll try a slant route. We go to Rutledge. He's got it. And we managed to call a timeout with 1 second to go. And we're in field goal range. So this is going to be a 47-yarder. He's already had a 37-yarder. From the left hash. Spot. Kick is on its way. It's got the distance, and it is good. Adam Vinatieri bangs it through to send us to the locker room with a 20-0 lead over the Jets, and we'll get the ball back to start the second quarter. Not doing great on third down percentage, only 33%. We don't have a turnover. 86 passing yards, 38 rushing yards. But we've held the ball for twice as long as the Jets, which is ultimately what we've been wanting to do for most of the season. Run a ball control, clock control offense, and limit their opportunities to score on their own terms. So John Hall will kick it away, get this second half going. And Redmond will bring the kick back, and it'll be 1st and 10 at our 23-yard line.
Now they're moving the football. Their offensive coaching.
One other programming note while I'm thinking about it. Our final episode of our playthrough of Super Robot Wars Alpha Gaiden should be out on Monday at the latest. At least I'm hoping. But there's a problem in that the game, as I was playing it, we got down to the last mission, and as if you've been following along with it, the very last episode we recorded, we didn't get anything to transition to the last mission because the game glitched out.
Ball at the 27-yard line.
And I had to go back and play it I actually replayed the mission twice to make sure there wasn't something wrong with it. As we break a tackle here, get the first down and a bit more as Redmond really muscling his way out for extra yardage. But unfortunately, it was just something either corrupted my save file or there's just a built-in glitch in the game that I don't know what brought it on. So what I ended up having to do is I had to download a save file that allows us to basically play the final mission. As we get the first down to Troy Brown at midfield. So we're going to record that one, and that will be what caps it. And then at some point, my hope is I'll be able to go back in and redo everything and do what we should have had be the final mission in the game. So we get the encroachment penalty against the Jets again.
Call for encroachment. You know, it's all about positioning and
it's one of those things that when you're playing games like this and you're recording content, it sucks when you have to do it. But the save files I found and I went through to see which one we're going to use, it's got some pretty neat treats in it. So in some ways, I'm actually looking forward to it because it's kind of a best case scenario of how we would finish the game and also getting the best possible result. And it's only because of technical difficulties that I have not been able to figure out why it is that my game files would just no longer work. As Johnson with the diving catch, first down. So Bledsoe 9 of 13 compared to Chad Pennington 1 for 11. And we're making our way through Jet territory and also, more importantly, burning time off the clock. So we're about 3 minutes to go in the quarter. And Redmond gets bulldogged down to the turf, but not before he picks up 7. It's second and 3. The 25-yard line. Broke the tackle. Tries to make another tackle, and now JR's got 15 carries, 69 yards, and a touchdown. More importantly, we're inside the red zone, and we've moved the chains again. So it's first and 10 at the 18. We go to Troy Brown, and he's got it inside the 5, down at the 2. Now they're going to mark it at the 1.
And here are the numbers to prove it.
The Patriots backed up their fourth first down on this.
All right, rather than giving it to Redmond, we're going to go with Edwards, the fullback, on this one. Have him busted in, and he'll walk through unscathed for his first touchdown in a while. And more importantly, it's 26-0 New England with the extra point coming up.
No matter how easy you make it look.
Lines up for the point after.
So the point after is good. Make it 27-0 New England with exactly 2 minutes to go in the third. So 9 plays, 77 yards, and 256 capped by the run.
Vinatieri lines up for the kickoff. Got his leg behind this one. Coleman has it.
And Coleman gets pulled down on the return at the Jet 25, and that is where the Jets will take over on downs.
The Jets take the field for the first time.
See what Pennington can do this time. If he can get any offensive momentum going at all, which he has not been able to do today.
Barely gets it off.
As that's swatted down at the line, so make him 1 for 12 now.
Moved into throwing early. That kind of vice-like defense can really squeeze out some bad passes.
Ball on the 25. Spirals in middle.
And picked off Lawyer Malloy.
Down after making a
So second turnover of the day by the Jets. 1 on the ground, 1 in the air, and Malloy was all over that like a cheap suit.
Can't coach reflexes like that.
So we get the ball back at the Jet 39-yard line with a minute 49 to go in the quarter. And we had really put this one on ice and we scored here.
They are up 27-0.
I formation, we go to Redmond. Got a bit of a seam, breaks 1 tackle, almost broke another, picks up 6.
Gain of 6.
It's funny now that the free agency is getting sorted out in the NFL and we're seeing who's going where.
Second and 4.
That now that Russell Wilson going to the Giants, Justin Fields going to the Jets, and it looking like Aaron Rodgers is going to the Steelers. And Jameis Winston also signed with the Giants. As Redmond gets a first down as he hops over a couple of guys en route.
J.R. Redmond took home some nice yardage on that play.
He did and almost
I've been around the game long enough to be able to look at it and think, okay,
ball on the 26.
which guys are going to find themselves getting snake bit more for ending up where they did? Like with Russell Wilson and Justin Fields being on the Steelers both last year, they both had moments where they could show what they could do. As Lucas got hit as he caught that one incomplete.
So threw the football into double coverage there. He's got a good arm, but I can't see how he would have made it through.
Yeah, I'll bet he could have found greener pastures elsewhere.
But
10.
I do wonder in regards to Justin Fields if it's going to be a case of by him going to the Jets, even with Aaron Glenn taking over as the head coach, coming over from the Lions,
Will bring up 3rd and long.
is it something where just that franchise is so bedecked in moroseness and inability to get out of their own way and avoid the rakes and the banana peels?
Throws middle, incomplete. They've been
That
targeting these passes.
we're going to see his career ultimately suffer like so many other quarterbacks like a Chad Pennington did before him.
Absolutely, Peter. No need to try and put the game away with a touchdown.
And it's not just the Jets. I mean, if you look historically at teams like the Bengals, you know, Joe Burrow is an aberration. Although when I was a kid, the Bengals were actually really good when they had Kenny Anderson as the quarterback. And then by the mid-'80s, he was gone, and they brought in Boomer Esiason, who got them to a Super Bowl like Ken Anderson did. Unfortunately, both Bengal teams just happened to go up against Bill Walsh, Joe Montana, and the 80s West Coast offense 49ers.
Yep, you're far enough
So
away.
6 plays, 14 yards on that drive, capped by another Vinatieri field goal.
They're going to forgive you if you muff it.
The Patriots continue to
But that's also why I'm curious about what's going to happen with Detroit this year. Because now that they've lost Ben Johnson to the Bears, as I said, Glenn has gone over and he's taken over the Jets as their head coach. What is Dan Campbell going to do to replace them? And what are they going to do to make sure that they can be in a position to keep their playoff window and their Super Bowl aspirations intact? Because especially nowadays, it's so easy for the window to get slammed shut. Look at what happened with the 49ers. 2-3 years ago, it was almost a foregone conclusion that even with Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, proving himself to be anything but, as we hit the end of the third quarter, the Niners were going to be among the teams in the NFC that were going to be talked about for the next 5-6 years as a Super Bowl contender. Well, they've spent the whole offseason and even towards the end of the year last year, fire selling off all their parts that they could get, and now they're completely rebuilding. And the question is are they going to get Brock Purdy to a contract, or are they just going to leave him behind? As Brewski there with a big hit on the Vernius Coles.
Who are playing some of the best football they've ever played.
Ball at the 19-yard line.
I mean, I would love to see the Lions. I want to see the Lions win a Super Bowl in my lifetime. I'm not a Lions fan, obviously, otherwise I'd be playing with them here. And oh my goodness, they finally get their first down in the game on Pennington's second completion of the game.
It's 1st and 10.
Because I said for a long time, the Lions winning the Super Bowl would be like the Browns winning the Super Bowl. It's one of those things in sports that we know would make great storytelling and be great drama. It would be something that would be really cool to see, just like when the Red Sox finally won a World Series, when the Cubs finally won a World Series. And having spent time living in Ohio, living in Cleveland, about the only thing those people want to see more than the Browns win a Lombardi trophy is to see the then Indians, now Guardians, win a World Series. Now, granted, baseball isn't as big nationally as it once was when I was a kid and long before I came along. But to local fandoms that still have teams and still support those teams, it matters to them. It's no different than it would be if we were an NBA team or an NFL team. Oh, they got the first down again on the pump fake and the slant. So now, Pennington is 5 of 18 for 36 yards.
You know, receivers sometimes have to work so hard to catch a wayward pass that they've got to appreciate the ones that drop in their front pocket.
Dare I say, they might be putting a drive together here. But it's too little too late. It's down 30-0 with about 3 minutes to go in the game. And they keep running that screen pass. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. At least this screen pass is easier to cover than the screen pass that I deal with when I'm playing Madden. There is a screenplay that opposing teams will run on me, and I have tried every defensive configuration I can think of to try and stop it. I'll run cover 2s, I'll run cover 2 man, I'll run cover 3 because it's supposed to cover the sidelines. And Pennington just throws that one away. But it always seems to be a case of they get the play off, it goes to the running back has 3 hulking behemoths in front of him who run impeccable blocking schemes. And if they don't immediately score a touchdown that can go the entire length of the field, they pick up so much chunk yardage, it's insane. As Brewski just stuck Curtis Martin on that one. That makes it 4th and 6. That stops the drive at midfield, and they're going to punt it. So the Jets are conceding defeat with 2:33 to go. For anybody who has been playing later versions of Madden, I'm still only playing the 2013 edition of Madden. But you'll have to let me know in the comments if that is still an issue. If they can just run that ridiculously unblockable screen. It's seriously one of those plays I'm like, you should, if that's an unbeatable play, then you should run that every time, because I can't stop it, no matter what I throw at it. As Redmond picks up 6, and we hit the 2-minute warning. All right, so we're here in garbage time with 2 minutes to go. We've got this game wrapped up 30-0. And Redmond is close to a first down, and he's close to 100 yards for the game. So now I want to make sure I get it for him. So 3rd and 1. Breaks a couple of tackles, but he's got the first down. We keep the clock running, keep the chains moving.
Got the
The
yards
Jets
he
aren't
needed
worried
to
about using their
convert.
They know
timeouts.
they can count on him to make those crucial conversions. Nothing flashy, just good football. It's 1st and 10.
So now if I can get him about 7 or 8 yards, he should have 100 for the game. Breaks 1 tackle, but not 2, and loses a yard.
And forces a loss of a couple of yards.
That is an airtight defense, Dan.
Well, that's not what I wanted.
Thought get past the line of scrimmage.
I think they're even driving them back a bit, Peter. That is great D.
Yeah, you know, it's moments like this that test your resolve. Will this offense rise to the challenge?
All right, so we're going to have to try and run a pass to free up some space here with under a minute to go. Give Redmond a breather. And we find Charles Johnson first down as Troy Brown gets player of the game nods.
Charles Johnson had more interference than a cell phone in the Lincoln Tunnel, but he still managed to make the catch.
So under 30 seconds to go, we're near midfield. Not concerned about scoring on this drive.
They knew he could get the job done with the right throw. 23 seconds.
He's entered the elite
And he's over 100 yards. Okay.
He shows no signs of slowing down.
13 seconds left.
So we got 12 seconds to go. This will probably be the last play of the game. Hand it off. Break a tackle, break another tackle, break another tackle, and he's finally down. That ends it. And we get the season sweep against the Jets, 30-0. So, as we move on to the final week in the season. We're at 14-1 over the Rams at 13-2. We got the Panthers at 11-4, the Giants and the Jags at 10-5, and then the logjam starts at 9-6. While the Jets fell to 2-13 along with the Falcons, the hapless Cowboys are 4-11. Speaking of the Steelers, they're 5-10. I don't think the Steelers have been 5-10, and I'm not kidding about this, since the 1960s. And that's back then they played a 12-game season. So they can't have gone 5-10. I don't think they've ever gone 5-10 in their history. I remember before the advent of Chuck Noll and the Steel Curtain defense and Terry Bradshaw and Franco Harris, the Steelers were pretty bad. But once that started, they have never had a season that I recall being that bad in my lifetime. So while I'm at it, let's see what we've got for... So J.R. Redmond, 1,581 yards rushing on the season. A 1,600-yard campaign for him? I'll take that. 28 touchdowns. And to 1 fumble. See, and let's see if I can organize this by yard. There we go. Where is Drew at? Doug Flutie's thrown for 3,770 yards. Drew Bledsoe has thrown for 2,328 yards. That is ridiculous. That is 1970s football numbers right there. Having a quarterback throw for not even 2,500 yards in a season, that shows the disparity between running and passing in this game. Because we should be able to put up a lot more than that. But it's what it is. So let's see who we're going to play in the final week of the season. We will go back to New Jersey and take on the G-Men in what most people remember as the most contentious Super Bowls in New England Patriots history. But we will deal with that at another time. That wraps up Sports Saturday for this week. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you've been enjoying the content on the channel, you know how to show up by now. Again, as a programming note, we will be off for Sports Saturday and Sucker Punch Sunday next week because I have to go out of town. And I simply won't have time with everything I've got to get done this week to be able to record episodes to prep for the weekend. So it'll give me a chance to take a breather, do a little bit of a recharge, see the City of Lights down in Vegas, and then come back and we will get the season wrapped up. Also, be sure to tune in. We will have Sucker Punch Sunday tomorrow, however, where we play a classic fighting or fighting platform-based game from the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th generation. Also, as I said earlier, we are going to do our finale of Super Robot Wars Alpha Gaiden. That should go up and be ready on Monday. But, as I will explain when we get it recorded, it will have a twist to it. Simply because unforeseen circumstances kind of ruined the end of the game for me, and I'm not going to go back and play it all the way through to get to that point. I pumped in 71 hours to get to this stage. It was a haul, let me put it that way. We do have our next playthrough picked out. That's going to come later on in the springtime. We are going to start doing our WTF Wednesdays and one-day playthroughs in the interim. Starting with a special one, we're going to have a special WTF Wednesday that's going to come out actually on Tuesday for the start of April, and that's all I'm going to tease on that one. Be sure to follow us on social media through Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. Ronan's Retrograde helps spread the word about us as we continue to build this channel and make it bigger and better. My name is Ronan. It's been great to spend this Saturday with you. Be safe, be well, happy gaming, and we'll talk to you tomorrow for Sucker Punch Sunday. Bye.